Hey, it's your girl, Stacy Bullock, host for Tools for Everyday Living. Welcome to another Friday. I'm so happy you're here with me. I know yesterday is a day that was set aside for the U.S. to give thanks. And I just want to say, I hope that everyone had a day where they can recognize that there's always something to be thankful for. So, with that being said, let us get on with this show. This is the last Friday of November, and it is the month that is celebrated for veterans. So, as a veteran, I want to say thank you to everyone who contributed to a veteran's success. Yeah, thanks for contributing. We really appreciate it. You know, it's not always that we are made to feel like we count. There are some of us who have experienced some things that they were not the better for it. So thank you for those who did something this month to honor a veteran. So I thought it would just be fitting that, as a veteran, that I would close out this month talking to you from my heart, from something that has helped me have become a great tool in my life. And it's something that we may or may not want to hear about or think that it needs to be done. But in order for us to be authentically us, to walk around every day fulfilling who you are, we have to observe our behaviors. You saw the title. It's building strength. We build on who we are. We grow and we develop and we mature into these wonderful beings when we pay attention to our behaviors, when we start to care about how we show up. And it's not that I want us to be so overwhelmed with how do I look to someone else. No, that's not the intent of this show. The intent of this show is that you are the best you that you can be. I talked about me being a veteran. Yes, I served 18 years in the Army. Hooah for those of my Army buddies out there. And during that 18-year career, I had an injury that caused me to have to abruptly end my career. And from that point, I had to start to pay attention to who I am, what I like, what thrills me, where is my deep-seated passion. Yes, I'm writing a new book called Are You Present? And I coined this term about deep-seated passion. And we have to have an understanding of why are we so passionate about a thing? We all have a passion about something. And if you find yourself in a situation right now where you feel like you can't be passionate about who you are, I want you to stick around a little while longer. Go ahead and, peruse through the YouTube channel, Tools for Everyday Living, and find a tool that is going to help you pull out of you the best you. But I just want to help us today with this word observation. And I wrote down, one of my things is on a daily basis, I have to observe my daily behaviors. I have to pay attention every single day how I'm showing up. And as I was getting ready to say earlier, no, this is not we're going to show up to please those around us, everyone around us. I'll say everyone, because there are some people around us that we want to please, that we want to make them happy. We want to show them the best us, because for some reason they have the ability to bring that out of us. They have the ability to give us the want to be better, to extend from where we are. We have to learn to move past where we are. We have to find ourselves in better situations. We have to find ourselves thinking better, thinking higher, thinking more, thinking that we can accomplish more. But this is how we do it. I used to run track in school, and the track coach would watch us and say, okay, no, you need to make sure that your feet, when you come out the block, you come out the block this way. They observed the behavior that we were doing when we would be ready, preparing for a meet. That was a good one right there, y'all. We have to make sure that we observe our behavior, because we have to be prepared for the meet. We have to be prepared for when the opportunity comes. We have to be prepared to win. I've been watching track and field here lately, and I am just ecstatic about the young ladies that I see out there running and doing the things. I'm ecstatic about the men, but because I'm a woman, I like to cheer us on as well, because these women, they're putting their all into these track meets. But guess what? They're prepared to win. If they did not train and observe the way they were training and what they were doing while they were training and what worked best for them, they wouldn't be prepared to win. Somebody is watching how they are functioning. They're watching what they eat, how they exercise. They're watching and paying attention to every single thing. We're gonna take a break, but I promise you, I'm gonna come right back, and we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into observation and why we need to observe our behaviors on a daily basis. So stick in there with me. I'll be right back.
Have you found yourself wondering, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Recognizing the stranger in the mirror is the book for you. It helps us to unravel the mystery of who you really are, revealing your life's passion and why you should unveil the real you to the world. We need you. You are valuable and necessary for those who are connected to you. Do not be afraid to peek in and discover all your gifts and talents to share. It's real freedom when we reveal our authenticity. Stacy Bullock is a two-time best-selling author, transformational speaker, and host of Tools for Everyday Living TV show. She is committed to igniting resilience, personal transformation, and building life skills of her audiences and clients. The author of 2 previously written self-help books, Beaten Oil and Regain Power Through Resilience, Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. Stacy imparts lessons that teaches readers to utilize their light as a guide for others and discovering inner strength and resiliency to bounce back when life throws curveballs. Stacy may be reached for speaking engagements, leadership and employee training, and life skills coaching via her email at stacy@powerandresilience.com.
I'm Stacy Bullock, and I'm committed to waking your power to bounce back quickly from life's challenges. I've learned there is power in resilience. There was a point in my life when I closely identified with the Sade song, Soldier of Love. Mostly what I identified with was the part that says, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. Doubt, disappointment, rejection, it left a stain on my soul. But that's the place where our determination lives. And that's the place where we have to dig in and find resilience so that we can bounce back. I have taken all of that disappointment and despair, and now I use it as a catalyst. It has become my energy to fight, to become a better, a stronger human being every day. Why do I do this? 2 reasons. So I can help you understand that you can become better, and that you can become stronger, and then you can survive any situation. The second reason is because I was born to do it. I am a transformational speaker who can help you know that there is power after pain.
Every day, living tools for every day, living tools for every day, living every day, living tools for every day,
Hey, and we're back. So look, we're talking about observation. We're talking about observing our daily behaviors so that we can pay attention to what we're doing in life. Because I talked about the athlete before and how the coach watches the athlete and pays attention to their form and to their structure. So that's what we have to pay attention to. We have to pay attention to, what have I formed into? What is it that now I look like when I go out my door in the morning? Something simple as that. What do I look like? Not just your outer appearance. We're talking about our inner strength, our inner appearance, that yes, it shows up too. Your inner appearance sometimes will show up in the room before you do. I am one who can attest to that, for the positive and unfortunately for the negative. But because I was able to observe my own behaviors, first of all, I had to realize and accept that I needed to observe my behavior. I needed to know, what do I look like? And let's just look at this word a little bit further. What is observation? First of all, it's an action. We have to do something. We have to be willing to be participants in seeing. Wow. We have to be willing participants for the purpose of seeing ourselves. You know, they always say we can't see ourselves. Yes, we can. If we try, we can see ourselves. We say it's easier, yes, for someone on the outside to see how we're showing up, to look at us and say, hey, when people cut you off in traffic, you seem to get a little vengeful. Maybe we need a Snickers. Maybe we're hangry. I don't know. But there's an action that happens, and this action must be evaluated, if you will. We must take the time to examine what it is that we do. How do we function on a daily basis? Because that will determine the outcome of not just the day, but it will determine the outcome of us being able to authentically show who we are. And when we authentically show who we are, trust me, we are happy. We are joyful. I was able to do some things yesterday morning, because it was a holiday and I had time. So I was able to work on a song, work on some music. And I was able to write. I was able to be authentically me. And it was just a wonderful feeling. It made me feel like I had accomplished a great deal, even though I was only working on the music for an hour and I was only writing for an hour. But there were other things, of course, during the day that had to be done, like eating, watching a little football. But observation, let's get back to where we were. I digress. Observing our behaviors every day. So I'm looking at this action that I'm doing. I'm looking at this process that I'm going through. I was interviewed on a show last week and we talked about life is a process. But now we're adding into this process some action. And so in the process of doing something, what does the action look like? Am I mixing the cake right? Am I putting the right ingredients in, or am I just being lackadaisical and not really wanting to pay attention to the instructions? Listen between the lines here. We have to pay attention to the instructions of the manual of the thing, of the something, of the person. In our case, we're human, so it's us. We have to pay attention to see that we are functioning effectively in this vehicle that we walk around in every day. And if we don't function effectively in it, we might start to feel a little miserable. We might begin to get a little weary. And if we get a little weary, we might slack off on being nice. We might slack off on showing compassion. We might slack off on being love. Love is an action, just like this, observing our behaviors. We look at our behaviors carefully because we want to gain this information. We don't have it all together. I couldn't think of another way to say that. But we don't. We do not. If somebody tells you that they have it all together, they are not telling the truth. Because I don't think there's any of us who has every moment of our life all together. Now, there are moments when things come together and everything works out for our good. But there are those times when we're reaching to get to each good. There are those times when we say, oh, I need some information to figure out how to get to the next stage, to the next part of the process. Processes don't end. That's why we always have to make sure we're doing process improvement. That's another show. We're going to do that one day too. But we have to make sure that we are the doctor of our life. We are the physician of our life. We are paying attention to the symptoms. We are paying attention to those things that we say, well, wait a minute, how do I fix this? You know, you ever been to the hospital or know someone who's been in the hospital? That most likely means that they're staying for observation. The doctors want to see what it is that is causing the problem. They need to have the patient there to observe them through many modalities, whether it be in a CAT scan or an MRI or blood work or a regular x-ray, or just monitor them with different types of a heart monitor, a breathing monitor, a blood pressure monitor. There's many facets of the human body that can be monitored and examined and observed to find information to give us an understanding of what's going on with us. So, why not have to do that in everyday life? Why not have to pay attention to what's going on with us every single day? We have to become aware. I think this is 2023, Friday, November 24th, 2023. And we have to, I'm getting ready to say, because I'm writing a book right now called Are You Present? And it will be out. It will be out next year, 2024, right around the corner. It will be out. But we have to become aware of our daily behaviors, because guess what? Now we need to make some adjustments. Yeah, we need to make some adjustments. We need to say what it is, what do I need to do to get to my next step? Now, it depends on where you are in life and what you want to get accomplished right now, because this is just for the right now. This what I'm giving you, this is a continual thing for life. This is a continual tool to use for life. You know, when you have a toolbox, you don't just say, you know what, I'm not going to need that hammer anymore, so I'm not going to put it in a toolbox. I'm going to throw it away. Most of the time, we'll need the tool again. So with the human toolbox, always remember the tools that you hear on this show, you're going to need them again. And it's okay if you don't remember everything. You can always come back. Just go to our YouTube channel at Tools for Everyday Living, or you can come back to here, right here to E360 TV, and go to the Positive Vibration channel and look up Tools for Everyday Living and watch it again. So yeah, let's look. We got to make some adjustments. We have to formulate an opinion on something. And how do we do that? When we observe, we get to formulate a sound, a wise opinion when we pay attention. When we don't pay attention and we just arbitrarily just jump up and go do something, sometimes that doesn't work out well for us. So sometimes we need to get the information. We need to get the specs. I was thinking about getting a vehicle. And with that thought, I said, is this going to fit in my garage if it's too high? So I have to observe the height. I have to actually pull up and get the information of the spec of how high the garage is before purchasing the vehicle. It only makes sense, right? That way, I don't have to worry about now. I have something that I didn't want to have outside in the elements. And now I don't have a choice. Wow. Did you hear that? If we don't observe, if we don't pay attention, we take away our own choices. Keep that in mind. I'm going to say that again because I believe that we might have missed it the first time around. But if we do not observe our behavior and gather the information and gain knowledge about a thing, we could possibly get in our own way and take away our own choice. There's nothing worse than not having a choice, and a good choice. A good choice. Let's make that clear. A good choice. We have to have choices that make sense, choices that build, not choices that tear down. Listen to me out here, young people, older people, seasoned people, however we want to put it. Don't take away your own choices. And make sure you leave yourself room to have good choices. But we do this because we have observed our behaviors, and now we have an informed choice to make. We don't have something that is just, we got to take the first thing smoking. That gets us in trouble way too many times, trying to take the first thing smoking. We have to weigh things out. We have to pay. I know I keep saying pay attention, but we have to pay attention. There's this thing in the military that they always say, that I learned it as a great tool. Pay attention to detail. There's a class that I took a long time ago. It was a self-defense class. And one of the things that they taught us was, when you see someone coming toward you, and what you need to do is make sure that you gather 3 pieces of information about the individual. It could be their hair color, their height, their size, if they had on glasses, what they were wearing. I just rattled off a whole, probably 6. So all you need is 3, just in case you have to tell somebody else what that person looked like. And it could be for a good reason. Somebody may be looking for them to give them some money. Like, they helped me and they just walked off after they helped me, but now I want to find them. See, we always have to observe our behaviors. I could have said something negative. I chose to turn it into a positive and not a negative. That's what happens when we observe our behavior and we are willing to make adjustments. That's a big word right there. Willing. We have to be willing to take action, to go through the process, that we would be successful. We can't allow our vision to always stay skewed. And what I mean by that is, if I had kept that going in a negative way, that would skew the vision of why we need to gain 3 forms of pieces of information about an individual. That could have went negative. Let's not have skewed vision. I'll be right back.
I'm Stacey Bullock, and I'm committed to waking your power to bounce back quickly from life's challenges. I've learned there is power in resilience. There was a point in my life when I closely identified with the Sade song, Soldier of Love. Mostly what I identified with was the part that says, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. doubt, disappointment, rejection. It left a stain on my soul. But that's the place where our determination lives. And that's the place where we have to dig in and find resilience so that we can bounce back.
Letter, we can use it and make it something. So service is servant, excellence, resilience, victorious, imparting, consistently compassionate, and exceptional. That's service. We take on the servant mentality and have an excellent way to be able to produce it. But we're going to need some resilience. We're going to need some bounce back, because somebody's going to come and try to diminish what you were doing or saying. But we like, oh, the life is going to show up and we might get, wobbled a little bit. But then in our resiliency, we become victorious. And then we are able to impart something in somebody that actually will help. And we can be consistently compassionate with anybody, because everybody in this room may not have had the same challenges, but I tell you what, we've all got in common. We have felt pain, disappointment, rejection. All of us, we've felt it before. No matter how big or how small, we all know what it's like. So we all know what it's like to need to have compassion given to us. So now we can say, you know what? Let me be compassionate. And we're back. So I was talking a little bit about our mind. Our vision could be skewed when making decisions, when observing our behaviors. This is why it's so important to make sure that we deal with our mindset first and foremost. Because depending on what you were taught and what I was taught while growing up, and not just verbally spoken, that this is what you should do or this is what you should not do. Or the biggest part, the way we learn things is because we saw it. We looked at it. We heard it from a parent or someone that we looked up to as a child, or someone that we looked up to even now as adults. I hope that we're still out here learning. I know that I am. I know that I learn. I try to learn every day. Every day I would like to go to sleep knowing that I put something in me that was going to enhance who I am. So that's what learning is for. But we have to sometimes unlearn some things. And while unlearning, it's going to take some practice, it's going to take some commitment and some discipline, some words that, okay, maybe you may or may not like them, but they help you. They strengthen us. They help us be prepared when life shows up. We talked about the athlete and having to be prepared for the meet. So now we need to be prepared for life's meets, life's 440s, life's 100 dashes. Sometimes it's a mile relay. Sometimes I know that there was a sport called cross country running. Sometimes it's a cross country run that we need to be prepared for. But we have to make sure that we get our mindset right, that we have the right information, because we've put forth the right action. When we said observation is an action, it's an action. I'm going to tell you what the definition is. Here's the action or process of observing something or someone carefully, or in order to gain information. So we want to make sure that we gain information, that we look at things carefully, that we stop looking at things through skewed lenses of experiences. I'm going to say that again, that we stop looking at things through skewed lenses of experiences. We really need to make sure that our lens is not our vision, that we think with, that we process our behaviors and things that we see, the things that have shaped us, that they are intact. And if they're not, then that's where we have to come in and say, oh, wait a minute, I need to make some adjustments. I need to start to think different. I need to see things different. And when we do this, guess what it builds? It builds resilience. I stopped for a moment just to let that sink in, just to let you get a feel of, yeah, you are a resilient person. You are able to get back up again. You can do this. You can do this. Why can we do it? Because resilience will help us to gain different ways on how to do things, on how to work out our challenges and those things that try to come against us. But we have to be able to change the way we see. See, I keep touching these because it helps me change what I can and cannot see. If my vision is skewed, I may not hit the right button when needed. And there's no telling what could possibly come up on this screen. Yeah. So look, when we are making these adjustments, making these changes, we have to learn to move to things that are not confrontational. We have to learn to move towards things that are complaisant. It's a new word for us today. Complaisant. It is something that will say, you know what? I'm eager and I'm happy to make changes. I'm eager and happy to make adjustments in my life, because I know when I do that, that is going to make this journey easier. This is a great tool. Anytime you can do something to make life easier, I didn't say easy, but make it easier to adapt to some things. Sometimes changes come about. Like I said, I was in the military for 18 years and then I wasn't. So I had to make some serious adjustments, some adaptations had to be put in place. I had to learn things over again, how to now function with this injury and how to make sure that this injury doesn't stop me now from being me authentically. When I was in the military, not to say that I wasn't, because eventually I made it to leadership positions. And I know I'm a leader. I know I can successfully lead people with different tools and mechanisms that I just am gifted to create. And I was able to to do this with staff that I had just because of my ability to adapt and change. But those things, yes, were taught and I had to learn it, but it was something that I held on to from the military. Once we learn something, it's not like, oh, I'm going to just go take a test after I learn this and then I'm going to just let the information go. No, we have to hold on to these key life components, these tools that help us continue to build when life needs fixing. Because I don't know about you, but yeah, my life, it needs some fixing. I know that sounds like the Southern part of me coming out. It needs some fixing. Yep, because it will. There were some things that will happen that need some fixing. And there was a time when I was a supervisor to 35 people, and I had to come up with various ways to help us learn. It was my role to help them have the right resources so that they could successfully succeed at completing the mission for the Department of Justice at the time. So, but I had to help people change their perspective about me. They didn't even know me. I was brand new to the federal government, but that did not negate the fact that the vision that was skewed prior, because of the experience prior to me coming, prior to my arrival, I had to change people's thinking, the way they felt about someone who was in leadership. I didn't really even like to call myself a boss or supervisor. I would tell them that I am the person who is going to get you to your next destination in life. And that's exactly who I am. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, every day. And especially on Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tools for Everyday Living on E360 TV, I am here to bring you tools that is going to enhance your everyday life. Help us get to the next destination, because we're here. If you're listening to my voice right now and you're not hooked to tubes or something that is going to confine you to a specific space, I'm here for you to get to the next destination. Where do you want to go? It's up to you to get that part down, though. What is it that you need to see? What is it that you need to observe in you? What information do you need to bring forth in you and out of you to help you move forward? These are just me giving you questions to ask yourself. Every one of us has habits. And we build on these habits. These habits, they say we are creatures of habit. And that is exactly what has to be broken sometimes. Some habits need to be broken. Some habits aren't getting us to where we need to go. So we have to say, is this building my inner strength or is this tearing my inner strength down? I'm going to let you marinate on that for a little bit. Is this building your inner strength or is it tearing your inner strength down? I'll be right back.
Staying committed during life's challenges has requirements. First, we must make sound choices for our good. It is necessary to stay focused. The key is to have a target or well-defined focal point. What is the point of success we want to reach? We must decide to be dedicated to the best of who we are. Commitment will keep your feet moving. As long as there is movement, there is change. Make dedication, devotion, allegiance, loyalty, and faithfulness a promise to yourself. Keep you at the center and maintain balance by having a determined concentration. Producing mental strength which increases our power to succeed. Nothing worth having comes easy. Stay the course. If you want to learn more about being committed to you, email info@powerandresilience.com and send a request for more information. Always be awesome.
And we're back. Wow, that last commercial was something, wasn't it? I mean, commitment, dedication, allegiance, loyalty. These things are not talking about, these words that were in that commercial, we're not talking about doing those things towards someone else. The words, the dedication, the devotion, allegiance, and the loyalty were being pointed at you, the individual, because we want to build your inner strength. We want you to be strong, want you to be prepared for what comes your way, because life is going to come our way. We literally cannot stop it. And we shouldn't even want to stop it. We should want to look at it from a different perspective. And we just talked about our lens needs to be changed from the skewed lens. Let's put on the lens that help us to see clearly, the lens that help us avoid going back to old habits. We have to say, you know what? I'm putting a stop to whatever I was doing in my old life. I'm putting a stop to it right now. I'm not heading in that direction. It hasn't turned out well for me in so many odd years. I think I need to change it. I believe that, we need to come to realizations and come to points that we need to make changes to things. And when we observe our daily behaviors, that's what happens. We begin to transform the way we think. And that is so key to being successful and accomplishing your goals, accomplishing your mission, if you will. We have to be willing to sometimes take on a total mind metamorphosis. Yep, pause again to let that sink in. Take on a total mind metamorphosis. Sometimes it will take time for it to marinate and, get this into our being, that it begins to call out to us that we have to make this major move, make some changes. I'm a fan of Survivor, the show, and they always are talking about making major moves. And usually it's the one at the end that's what they bring up in their final speech to the, what do they call them? I won't say the judges, but the people at the end jury. Yes, they call it the jury. And so those individuals get to hear this story, and what the story is that they're telling at the end. Y'all got to listen between the lines, because what is your story that's going to be told at the end? When you, at the end of a specific process, not the end of life, but at the end of a specific process, when you're looking to attain your $1 million, and maybe not monetarily, but your feeling of $1 million. I'm now able to believe in me. That's worth way more than $1 million any day in my book. But we have to be willing to take on that metamorphosis of the mind. And when we do, it will change everything. When we begin to believe in who we are, when we begin to observe our behaviors. And now when we look at what we're doing, how we're showing up in action to excel in life. We're showing up in action and willingly going through the processes that is going to take to make sure that we get to where we need to be. Somebody's waiting on you on the other side. Somebody's waiting for you to show up. There are people who are in my life. Matter of fact, my mentor, Dr. James Cooley, who insisted that I start this show, and I'm so grateful and so thankful that he did. But he was able to see something in me that I knew was there, but didn't know that I needed to go further with it in a different platform. So now it's time for us to start making these changes and observing our behavior so that we can get to those places that you weren't even expecting to go. We don't want to do the same thing over and over again. That's called insanity. Well, this is the part that's called insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. We want to make sure that we are now making the adjustments because we observed our behaviors and we looked at ourselves and we say, well, that's not working out well for me. It's not working out well that I eat after a certain time of the day, and I'm really wanting to lose weight. Everybody is not in the weight loss category. You may just be in a category of, I need to go back to school and take this craft again. I need to go back to school to learn how to use this camera because I love photography. There's something about photography that just makes me come alive. When you find that thing that makes you come alive, make sure you pay attention. Make sure you observe your behaviors. Are you doing what you need to do to make sure that you get there? Are you making sure, like I said earlier, complacent, your new word for today, complacent. Are you making sure that now I am happy and I'm eager and I'm willing to make these adjustments? Yes. Some days may be harder than others. Absolutely. Yes, 100%. Some days will be harder than others. But then there are going to be those days that are going to be so wonderful and you're going to be so fulfilled because you did not give up on yourself. You decided to look at yourself, make the observation, make the change, make the adjustments so that you can get to a certain point. I have friends, one particular friend I'm thinking about in particular. When I met him, he was a real estate agent. Now he owns a construction company because he found in the process and then making the adjustments when maybe the real estate market wasn't that great. Now he made the adjustment to say, let's enhance the business. Let's grow the business. Now just think about it from the standpoint of, let me not leave this part out. He just won a major award in his city for being one of the top producers in the state of Maryland. Yay. Wonderful stuff. When we begin to make adjustments, when we willingly, eagerly, and happy about making adjustments, don't make it a thing. Don't make it something where it's so feeling dreadful. Don't make it that way. Make it a thought. Don't skew your own vision. Don't skew your own vision. Make it a point where you say, you know what, this must be necessary for me to get to the next place that I need to get to in life, because there is a next place. It's up to you whether you want to go or not. But there is a next place. There is some place that you want to go, and it's not with the same people. It's not around the same environment, and it's not doing the same thing, because as I just said earlier, doing the same thing will cause you to experience insanity if you think that there's something going to change. The only thing that has to change is you. your thoughts, how you go about thinking about who you are. Observe your behaviors. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're saying. Pay attention to where you're going. Pay attention to how you allow people to talk to you. Pay attention, people. That's my message for today. That's my tool to offer to you. Pay attention. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. Things are coming up, things are moving, but pay attention. Observe your behaviors. Don't just give in to anything. All right, I will see you all next Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You don't want to miss the show. You don't want to miss the show. It's going to be awesome. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tools for Everyday Living on E360 TV. See you next Friday.
The incident that caused me to shift my life was my third failed marriage. I got married a third time, but I was, searching for love. I want to say that, to women, be good to yourself because you're worth it.